Hi students, this is lecture 8. It's about queuing theory. We will explain queuing theory in two parts. Part 1 will be discussed in lecture number 8 and part 2 will be discussed in lecture number 9. Queuing theory is important in simulations because it provides theoretical predictions against which to validate simulation results. The following topics will be covered. First, introduction to stochastic process. If you remember, we predefined stochastic process as a random variable, but here we will thoroughly define it in a different way. So you can understand what do we mean by stochastic process. Discrete time and continuous time Markov chains. There is something called Markov chains. Some properties of Markov chains and Chapman-Kolmogorov equation, CK equation, plus birth-death process. These terms are very important. You have to know about them and understand them. In the second part, we will explain Little's theorem, the exponential distribution, the Poisson process, standard notation for queuing systems. There are some queuing systems you have to know about before you graduate. The MM1Q, the MMNQ, and MM11BQ. We will define these notations later. Okay. First, let's talk about stochastic process or a random process. It's a family of random variables indexed by ordered set T. So the conditional, it's a random variables but is indexed by an ordered set T, formally expressed as x of t, where t small belongs to t capital. That is, for any fixed t in t capital. By t I mean time here, because stochastic process is a random variable indexed by time. Okay, x of t is a random variable. So it's a set of random variables in different times. Stochastic process is a counterpart to a deterministic system in probability theory. Instead of dealing with only one possible event, determining how the system might evolve over time, in stochastic processes, there is some indeterminacy in its future evolution. The values of xt for higher values of t in t capital, though this indeterminacy is quantifiable with the probability distributions. Usually, stochastic process used in prediction, like weather prediction or future values of the random variables. Stochastic processes are classified in different ways, such as by index set, by state space, or by set of all possible values that the random variables x of t can assume. The following are some examples of the different cases that can occur. We will explain stochastic process by 4 examples. Okay. Example number 1. This W be the amount of time that elapses from the arrival of a message till the processing begins. Suppose that you have a server, for example, and W is the amount of time takes to arrive the message arrives to the server. Okay. The random variable is indexed by the arrival of time of the message t, which is a continuous parameter. Time is a continuous parameter, and the state space W of t is also continuous, since the waiting time can be any real non-negative number. So this explains the continuous random variable and continuous state space as well. Okay. Example number 2. Let x and p, where n equal 3.1 to fixed limited numbers or fixed types of numbers. Do you know the average time to run a job in a computer center for the nth day of the week? For example, the x1 is the average job time on day 1, which is 3.2. Sunday is x2 is the average time for day 2. Monday and so on. Then xn is a discrete set, though the state space is continuous. The time is continuous, but x is discrete because we are dealing with number of days here, fixed numbers. Example, if the number of packets, for example, p in a queue of messages at the time when a message arrives is p of t to t naught, then the random variable is indexed by the arrival time of the message t. This is considered to be a continuous parameter, and the state space is discrete. It's opposite the example that we have seen in example 2. since the number of messages in the queue is always an integer. Alright? Okay. Example number 4. Let's xn, where n is limited number, set of integer numbers, positive integer numbers, denote the number of cars that pass through checkpoint A on the nth day of the week. That is, x1 is the number of on day 1, x2 is the number of day 2, and so on. Then xn is discrete. Also, the state space is discrete because it's the number of days in this term. Okay, figure 9.2 shows the differences between the 4 types of stochastic process. We have continuous time, continuous value process, discrete time, continuous value process, continuous time, discrete value process, and finally discrete time, discrete value process. There are common types of stochastic process that appears in the context of simulation states. Are listed below. There are many types of stochastic process, but if you want to understand the simulation, and especially network simulation, we have to visit some important terms of types of stochastic process. One of them is independent processes. These are the simplest and most trivial ones. They consider the sequence in which xn forms a set of independent random variables. It's a simple set of independent random variables that the set and each x is independent of each other. These called independent processes. The second type is Markov process. Markov is a name for a scientist who developed this type of stochastic process. It's the set of random variables, say x of n, forms a Markov chain if the probability that the next state is x of 1 depends only upon the current state x of n and not upon an array of states. This is Markov's process. It means that x of xn1 depends on the current states xn and not upon areal values. Yeah, it means that the random variables are dependent on each other, but not on all. Each random variable depends only on the current state, not on the previous ones or the next ones. Okay. Birth-data processes. A Markov process with a discrete state space whose states can be enumerated with an index, say I0, I equal to 0, 1, 2, such that the state transitions occur only between neighboring states. So birth-data processes is a special type of Markov process that can be indexed from 0 to 1, 3, 2, etc. And they have transitions occur only between the neighboring states. What I mean by transitions, like for example, if xn1 depends on current x of n, there is a transition from xn to xn1 and so on, but only to the neighboring processes. Okay, and the variable status. The fourth type is semi-Markov process. These extend the notion of Markov processes by allowing the time between state transitions to obey an arbitrary probability distribution. The case when a transition must be made at every unit time is the classical Markov process, in which the time spent in one state is geometrically distributed. These extend the notion of Markov process by allowing the time between state transitions to obey an arbitrary probability distribution. There's a distribution. The case when a transition must be made at every unit of time is a classical Markov process, in which the time spent in one state is geometrically distributed. Okay, this semi-Markov process is the same as the previously mentioned Markov process, but there's a relationship or geometrically distributed probability relationship between the states. Okay, the fifth one is random walks. Random walks can be thought of as an object moving among states in some state space. For example, discrete space. A location of this object is defined in a certain state. Stationary processes is stochastic process x of t is said to be stationary if there's an fx for x and t which is invariant to the shifts in time for all values of its arguments. Those are self-explanatory. You don't have to understand the theory, but we will focus on that data processes. We will study it next in the next lecture. But these are some types of stochastic process. For example, random walks, stationary process, semi-Markov reference. We are not going to deal with it in this course. Okay. Markov process classification. There are two types of parameters: discrete time and continuous time. The discrete, this is the state space of the Markov process. Is also there is a discrete continuous. We already seen a stochastic process state space, but this is specific for Markov chain. So there is discrete time Markov chain, continuous time Markov chain. There is discrete time Markov process. There is continuous time Markov process. So we have in the continuous state space we have Markov process. In the discrete state space we have Markov chain or Markov continuous chain. But each has its own continuous time, continuous discrete time. Okay, you have to differentiate among these. Okay, consider a stochastic process x of t where t belongs to t couple. The set t, the stochastic process called the Markov process if for any increasing sequence for n equal 1 values or n1 of say time t such that t1 is less than t2, less than t3, etc. Then the indexed set of any set x1 to the xn of n1 states we have the following formula: probability of x of t n plus 1 is equal to xn plus 1 given xt1, which is equal to x1, and so on. For simplicity, p of x t1 will equal to x1 given xtn and xn. You don't have to understand this equation, but this is a sequence of random variables that are related to each other, which defines Markov process. In discrete time Markov chain, a variable can take one of a degenerable set of values and is permitted so to transition between these values only at discrete times. For example, at tn, n equals 0, 1, 2, 4, a discrete time Markov chain might be presented. Why it's chain? Because the state space is discrete. Yes. Okay, might be chain presented in some states, say I. So what t equal tn and xn equal I is then makes a state transition at t equal n plus 1 to xn plus 1 for equal to that equals to j. In general, the probabilities of one-step transition at step n plus 1 can be defined as follows: probability of xn plus 1, which is equal to j given xn of I, where n equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. This is discrete time Markov chain. We have discrete time and discrete space as well. Now we have continuous time Markov chain. In continuous time Markov chain, the index t set t is continuous, and hence the random variable is able to change at any point in time. So a stochastic process x of t, where t2 belongs to t couple, is formed. This stochastic process is called a Markov process if for any increasing sequence of n equal 1 values, say time t, such that t1, t2 less than t2, less than t3, to tn in the index set and any set x1, x2, x3 to xn plus 1 of n plus 1 states, we have the following formula, which is the same we have visited already. Okay. You only need to understand that continuous time Markov chain, we have the completely continuous time and discrete space. So for this reason, it's chain. not process. Basic properties of Markov chains. There are some properties of Markov chains. We don't have to memorize all of it, but you have to understand what these terms mean. Reducibility. A state J is said to be reachable from a state I, written I to J. If given that we are all still in the state I, there is a probability of y greater than 0 that at some time in the future the system will be in state J. Means that the state can be returned to itself in the future. We will say that the Markov chain is reducible, or that not reducible, but it's one of its probabilities. Okay. Periodicity. A state I is defined to have period m. If any return to a state I occurs in multiple of m times, so the period of the state is defined as m greater common divisor GCD of n p of x given that greater than. If m equal 1, then the state is said to be aperiodic. Means that we have m. If m is equal to 1, means that there is no common divisor between the m and n, which means that the system will be called aperiodic. The state will be called aperiodic. Ergodicity. A state I is said to be transient if, given that we start in state I, there is a non-zero probability that we will never return to I. If a state I is not transient, then if the expected return time is finite, the state is called positive recurrent. Markov chain is called ergodic if all its states are aperiodic and positive recurrent. This is important. Okay. What makes ergodicity valid is if the states are aperiodic, means that m is equal to 1 and it has positive, all the states has positive recurrent. There is no negative recurrent. Regularity. A Markov chain is said to be regular if there is a number n such that pij to the power of n greater than 0 for all ij, otherwise the chain is irregular. Memoryless. A discrete Markov chain is said to be memoryless if its states times are geometrically distributed. A continuous time Markov chain is said to be memoryless if its state times are exponentially distributed. A Markov chain is said to be regular if there is a number such that n such that probability of ij to the power 1 is greater than 0 for all ij, otherwise the chain is irregular. It means that it's positive. Memoryless if the discrete Markov chain is said to be memoryless if its state times are geometrically distributed. A continuous time Markov chain is said to be memoryless if the state times are exponentially distributed. Okay, if the state times is geometrically distributed, it will be memoryless. When we are dealing with discrete Markov chain. When we're dealing with continuous Markov chain, it will going to be exponentially distributed. This is the main difference between the discrete and exponent. Now we can now define Chapman-Kolmogorov equation. The Chapman-Kolmogorov equation can be used to compute the n-step transition probabilities of Markov chain. Since a Markov chain is homogeneous in time, if one-step transition probabilities on it are applied, for example, an given an plus 1, the CK equation provides a relationship for multiple step transitions. This is the Kolmogorov relationship or equation. Pi to the n plus m will equal summation k to equal to 0 to infinity for each pik multiplied by p to the power m kj for all I, j, m, n greater or equal to 0. Okay. Example. This is a very important example. It will explain the Chapman-Kolmogorov equation easily. Assume that a stage communication device receives a sequence of binary digits, either 0 or 1, inside the device. Each received digit is passed sequentially through a sequence of stages. Okay? At the end of each stage, the probability that the digit will be transmitted uncorrupted, is that true, there is no error, to the next stage of the device is 75%. What is the probability that a digit 0 is received as 0 at the fifth stage? Here we have to find P4. When the condition is when we transmit 0, we receive 0. Okay. Because we count n stages from 0 to 4, so the stage transition matrix P is the matrix shown in the figure. Let's analyze the problem. We have the probability of true communication, of correct communication of the device, 75%. So this matrix, they call binary matrix or binary channel matrix. If you remember in the communication system, the first number represents 0, 0, means that we transmit 0 and we receive 0. The probability of receiving 0 is 75%. This one called 0, 1, we transmit 0 and we receive 1. So the probability of receiving 1 from 0 is 2.5. The same thing here is we transmit 1 and we receive 0 is 2.25%. And we transmit 1, we receive 1 is 75%. So we map the problem to binary channel matrix. Okay. To find what is the probability that a digit 0 is received 0 at the fifth stage. The fifth stage is we have to find the power of 4, probability 4. This can be found by multiplying two matrices by itself to get p to the power square. So this, if you multiply this by itself, you know matrix multiplication is different. Okay, you can use the calculator or something like that. We will get p squared like this. P4, we have to multiply P2 by itself. We will get P4. P4, this matrix represents the fifth stage. It means that fifth stage means that the same communication device has been repeated 4 times before going to the fifth stage. So the probability will change because we have the probability for the first device, probability for the second device, probability for the third device, probability for the fourth device, which is this, and then going to the fifth stage, which is must be the receiver or something like that. As you can see, the probabilities have changed dramatically. So the probability of receiving 0, sending 0, receiving at the fifth stage is 0.53125. I think it's very easy to compute, and you may find some sort of this question in the final. Note that the CK equation has different forms depending on what type of multiple chain is being considered. Although in most applications of simulation, the homogeneous discrete time multiple chain is assumed for completeness. Table 9.2 shows a summary of CK equations forms. This is continuous time, homogeneous and non-homogeneous discrete time, homogeneous and homogeneous. This equation is almost the same. Look, the differences is between the equations is for the first one, probability of n. The second, non-homogeneous n plus m. For the homogeneous, probability of t because it's continuous. And for non-homogeneous is s plus u, which is 2 parameters. It means that there are 2 different states. Lastly, we will come to discuss Berth-Deffy process, which is this process is very important to understand. Berth-Deffy process refers to a Markov process with a discrete state space, such that the state of which can be enumerated in with matrix with an index, say that I equals 0, 1, 2. This is a state, not a 1 or 4, such that the state transition can occur only between neighboring states, i.e. it means that either for I goes to I plus 1 and I, or I go to I minus 1. But neighboring, we say that the transitions occurs in neighboring states only. The concept of birth-death process arises most frequently in the context of population. Example, the number of customers in a queuing system. In this, the notion of the death of the customer's departure from the system itself is done, and the notion of birth is becoming customers come arrival to the system. When an arrival at arrival time rate, the size of the population will change by at most 1 at each time step. Size can be increased by 1 birth or decreased by 1 death. Note that when the system is in a certain state, it can be denoted by EK, such that E is the state which consists of K members. The transition probabilities Pij do not change with time and can be described diagrammatically as shown in figure 9.6. We have some important terms you have to understand. Lambda is the birth date. Alpha is the death rate. Increases population by 1. Alpha I is decreases population by 1. Several special cases. Lambda I is greater than 0, death is allowed. If alpha 0 is 0, no death means that all the customers will stay in the system. Pure birth means not no decrement, only increment. Pure death, that is no increment, only decrement. Okay. So probability of I will be equal to 1 minus y lambda to the power of a subtracted by alpha when j equal y minus 1. Pij will be will equal to alpha I when j equals to I minus 1. It will equal to 1 minus alpha lambda I minus alpha I when j is equal to 1. When j is equal to the next state, this is the previous state, this is the current state, this is the next state, it will equal to lambda I. It's self-explanatory. Why? Because lambda is the birth rate, it means that in the next state we will add the rate will be the birth rate. Look to the figure here. We have the current state I. We have three options here. Either death, when death occurs or customer leaves the system, we will go to the step or the state, previous state, I minus 1, because the number of customers is decreased by 1. If nothing changed, means that the probability staying the same, means that one death has occurred and one death has come. So subtract by it means that nothing will be changed. These are the rate. The rate I mean by that is the probability. Like for example, the probability of lambda is, for example, if is 0.5, and the probability of death is 0.5, that they are equal. It means that nothing will change. 1 subtracting by 0.5 subtracting by alpha by 0.5 will equal to 0, so nothing will really change. But if the date rate is greater than alpha rate, the current state will increase, the number of customers will increase. If no death occurs, just a new customer comes, the state will go to the next state, which is I plus 1. This diagram explains the whole process of birth-death process. It means the system at a specific time, it either can go backward or forward based on the death rate alpha or birth rate lambda. Okay. Example 7. A birth-death process and memoryless Markov chain. If a birth-death process has a uniform transition probability P from state I to state I plus 1, independent of I, and a uniform probability for the reverse transition. Okay, we have two uniform probabilities. Probability of the system in state I for n times given state in the current state I is Pn. Probability of the state I n times before existing from state n is Pn multiplied by the inverse probability, which is 1 minus P. It can, because we have only two uniform probabilities. can be shown that the state times are geometrically distributed, so such that process is memoryless.